your calculator for. And so if you run out of time with it, you won't be able to get all the points. Still show what you can, for sure, for sure. Still show what you can, but obviously it's ideal that you can maximize the time with your calculator itself. So I'm getting into, here we go, question 1 on both, about 15 minutes on either one. We will be working more on FRQs next week. We'll be taking the FRQs from last year's AP exam. We'll be taking FRQs depending on how much time we have. Pretty much just going over FRQs, because at that point you've had 2 full-length practice exams of multiple choice. There are at least 3. I might email out a 4th optional AP exams worth that bonus extra credit, etc. Remember our deadlines for everything. Check out our calendar. Our Forever Final is next Friday. When You See You Think is due next Thursday. And then bonus is due by the next Monday, May 14th. So then our AP is the 15th. I think that's Tuesday. 13th, 14th, 15th, yeah. So we're recording. Do you guys have any B multiple choice questions remaining? From either exam. B multiple choice questions. Okay, to that end, let's go to the FRQs. Let's double check that you guys know, because not all of you might have, I closed down my Google Drive. Make sure that you guys all know where the FRQs are. Yes, you can hit the link in your email. That's one way. But the other way is that you can go to your class folder under AP Exam Practice, under Practice Exams. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Remember, these exams aren't posted in there because I emailed them to you for the whole security thing. But as we go to our folder, I can post the videos. Because I'm not posting what year they are. I'm not showing. I'm just saying, like, hey, mock AP. No one really knows what's what except for us. So it's kind of hidden in there as well. AP exam prep, practice exams. Come on. Sorry, I shouldn't have closed out the window. There we go. Solutions, which we're kind of used to looking for solutions for maybe spring break practice, etc. There it is. Mock AP FRQ video explanations. And you guys have the BC's coverage of FRQ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on what exam? They didn't do both exams. What exam are these videos?
Those are from
The Saturday, the 2017, which is the additional practice for just a few, and for most it's your actual mock AP that you need to do corrections on. So if you did not locate this last night, there is a link also in the email that I sent you, but you can go ahead and watch a couple BC kids cover how to solve these FRQs, if this actually plays. I'm not going to play the whole thing. That's awkward. Huh. It could be my computer. It could be the network. You guys know that we have some issues. There we go. It just takes a while.
Hi, it's Caroline and Alan, and we're doing the first FRQ. And the problem is a particle moves.
Okay, so they literally walk through parts A and B and C and whatever you have D. They walk through exactly what the work should have been. Now, am I standing up here saying that I 100% support and endorse every single word, every jot, every tittle? That's biblical. No. Can they say things wrong?
Yes.
Yes. Can they show things wrong?
Yes.
Yes. Did I watch half of them video their FRQs and try to stop them if something went wrong and be like, wait, guys, hold on, you just said this. Like, go back. I tried to stop them, but I wasn't listening to every single one. I wasn't grading every single one in the moment. So as a result, that's what this time is for you guys to come and ask me questions beyond the videos. Now, some of you didn't watch videos 1 and 2 for today. Well, that's a bummer. I'll try to answer as much as I can. But what can you do for tomorrow? Watch 3 through 6 and then go through the solutions and compare it to yours and be like, okay, well, what did I miss? What did I get wrong? I mean, you can see how many points you got on it, but what were you supposed to do? You have to do corrections on these FRQs and correct everything that you did wrong to get the full points. So try to look at the video. Yeah, let's get the phone turned off. Try to look at the video and see if you can understand what you should have done, but then come and ask me questions. Now, what else is this class time for today and tomorrow? How about the Monday exam? How about the practice exam? There are no videos. Now hold on, pause. Are there in these solution keys, or I should say in these files, are there the solutions at the end? Yes, which is why since you guys have any B questions, I'm going to come down here to the solutions so that we can check them out, right? For 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, just because you can see the scoring guideline does not mean that you understand it, right? So here I am. I'm in number 1 for 2017. Here I am. I'm in number 1 for 2013. Both exams at the very, very end have all the scoring guidelines as far as how to get all 9 points. Does anyone, though, right away have any questions they want to ask on 1 or 2 of either exam? David? 2013? Okay. Yeah, this was the Monday one. Okay. Do you have a specific place where you want us to start, or we just go through it? Huh? Okay. So as you guys look at this one, some of you, for most of you, it's your additional practice exam. There's no video explaining this, okay? Remember, the additional practice exam is due fully attempted and graded by Monday at the latest, Friday at the earliest. So as we check out this one, what do you guys see? 2 functions. They label them for us. And they ask us for the area of R. According to our forever card, if we're trying to find the area between, we can either think of top minus bottom with dx's or right minus left with dy's. What do you think would be the best or easiest one to use on this one? Dx, because it's in terms of x, and we get to choose for area, top bottom or right left. So if we get to choose, let's do top bottom. Now, for area, top bottom, can't we just do a little right? Okay. Which means that our top would be 1 minus x cubed. Our bottom would be sine of x squared. We're trying to throw that inside an integral. There's no like pi r squared craziness. This isn't a volume. This is just an area, top minus bottom. I do have dx, but guys, what do I need? I need not just the left bound, which is going to be x equals 0, but I also need the right bound, which is going to be x equals, why am I calling it a? I don't want to write it out. I don't want to write it out multiple times throughout the FRQ. So what are we going to do at the very, very beginning of this problem? Find the intersect with our calculators. Let's make sure that we know how to do it, because this is a very, very, very helpful tool. So as we throw this into our calculators, we're going to also make sure you guys know how to use your store. You were supposed to be bringing your calculators so that we make sure we know how to use them. We have our 1 minus x cubed. I'm trying to see if there are any places where you might make any mistakes plugging in, like as far as typing it in, but I think this is pretty straightforward. As long as you're in radian mode, you should be good. X squared should be inside the parentheses, but otherwise, I'm just going to do zoom standard, even though we probably could zoom in a bit. Oh dear. That's a mess. I don't know who you're talking about, bud. That's a very general statement. We're on number 1 right now, bud. Okay. Oh, I need to turn my sound off. Second, trace, intersect. Boom, boom, boom. Do we all know how to use the intersection feature okay? You have to answer the first curve, second curve?
Yeah.
You have to answer the first curve, second curve, and then you get your intersection of. Do we want the x or the y or both? I don't know. But since, well, right now we only want the x, but we have a whole FRQ. So what might I do? I might go ahead and say at the very beginning up here, be like, hey, the intersection, we could say that 1 minus x cubed equals sine of x squared at AB, AB being 0.76497 and 0.55235. What am I trying to do? Save myself time. If I do have to do dy at some point, I don't want to have to come back and look for it again. Does that make sense? So I have my whole point. Now, kiddos, what's the really cool trick where I could stow this and not have to type that 0.76497? Good. I just do second mode or second quit. I hit the stow button right away. And whatever was just on the screen from the intersect having been done will go where I need it to go. And I'm going to put it in A, and there he is, and there he'll stay for as long as I want him. Wait, what if I need to get the y value later? Well, you can't stow because it automatically stows the y. So you can't automatically, the x, you can't automatically stow the y. But couldn't you use your cool trick of, hey, wait a minute, couldn't I plug in y1 of a and that'll get me my b? So if you ever needed to get them, You could go grab him, or you could just type him in and say, hey, he's going to be I'm going to make him B. Dun, dun, dun. And now I have him for the rest of the FRQ if I need him. Doesn't mean you have to, but you can. So to that end, how would I do this problem? How do I get an integral?
Math 9.
You can do math 9. You can do math and then scroll down to function integrate. Or you could do the shortcut of alpha, window, and you could do function integrate right there as well. There's a quick shortcut to it. And then you would go from 0 to, didn't we stow it as A? Could you type in 0.7649? Yes, you could. You could also just throw in, as long as you stowed it, you could throw in your A. You could come over here, since you have all these things nicely stowed. Where's my Y1s, Y2s, Y3s? Alpha Y equals, then you come down to your Y bars. So you could just do alpha trace or just come down, hit trace. Then you can do your Y1. I think I put in that one first, and then minus Y2. David, this making sense okay?
Yeah.
And the nice thing is, I mean, if you have this all plugged into your calculator, as far as like the Y1s, the Y2s, this actually can go pretty quickly. If you weren't totally sure whether or not you did the right top minus bottom or the right minus left, if you got a negative answer, you would make it a positive. But that's only if you could tell that you shouldn't split up the integral anywhere. If you couldn't tell, you should put those absolute value bars in there and use your math number and do the absolute value of, the absolute value of top minus bottom, right minus left. If you didn't know, but since I'm able to see my picture, I'm able to see the top, the bottom, subtract, got it, done. You're able to answer. Now pause, hold on. What do the AP graders want to see? This is a great question. What do the AP graders want to see? As I come down to look at number 1, check it. All they want to see, and I know it's hard to see behind my work, all they want to see is, oh, hey, intersection. Oh, hey, AB. I'm a genius. No, I know how they work. And hopefully you will too by the time you take the AP. There's the intersection point. They write the expression and they write the answer. Was there any need for work? No, the calculator does it all. The calculator does it all. And check it, guys. You could have gotten 3 points just by doing that. 3 out of 9. For some of you, that's better than any FRQ score that you got. And that was just by typing in top minus bottom and the intersection. Intersection, the correct limits, the integrand, top minus bottom, and the answer. 3 points out of 9 just for doing that. There are so many points to be had. So many points to be had. All right, coming back. So that was number 1, letter A. We're going to go a little bit quicker. I was just making sure that you guys got the setup for the problem. So now we have it all in our calculator. And you could go ahead and answer with, it's on my calculator, right? 0.533 or 0.534. Either one is good. You could cut it off after 3, or you could round it after 3, or you could write 5 every time and you'll get it right also. Either way works. Let's go ahead to letter B. And this gets a little interesting. A horizontal line y equals k is drawn through the point where the graphs of, if you guys remember up above, just real quick for visualization, you had this guy coming down and you had this guy coming up, something like that, right? This is R. You have your intersection point, which is AB. They tell me all of a sudden there's this K guy. What? Drawn through the point where they intersect. Find K and determine whether this line divides R into 2 regions of equal area. Hold on. What's the Y value of the point? So who's K? Has to be B. It has to be the Y of the point. We just talked about that, who it was. Yeah.
Did you have to specifically state that was K? Because I just wrote Y equals that number. But did you
should have specifically stated K, yeah. So it should have been that K equals. I would have said you should have. It might be that an AP grader around a table, they figured out that they would give the points for that because of the find K and you say Y. I would be safe and say K. And then, guys, just what was that answer real quick? It was 0.5.
155235157. I wrote it.
Perfect. That'll be fine. You only needed 3, but more is totally fine as well. Then it says, determine whether this line divides R into 2 regions of equal area. Stink. I need to figure out just this area and see if it's half of the total area. Or vice versa, I need to find that area, see if it's half of the total area. Or Third option, you could find both of them and see if they're equal. How can I find just that area? Yeah, you can do top minus bottom, but who's on top now? K is on top. Y equals K is on top, and who's on bottom? Well, for this one, isn't this one the sign of, make sure I write it right, x squared? So you could do top minus bottom, and then my bounds are still 0 to A. And what could you do? You could ask yourself, when you find it, is this equal to 1/2 of what you just found? Is it equal to 1/2 of what you just found? Long story short, I believe the answer is no. I believe the answer is no. You would get that number, you'd be like, no, that's not equal to 1/2 of r, so therefore, show the work. You did show your work, and you showed the conclusion of, no, this line does not divide r into 2 equal regions. The answer key? Yeah. So for letter B, it writes K equals. You could have just said K equals B because you stated it up above, but you could also write it out. That's probably proper. Then they went ahead and they did both of them. You didn't have to do both. You could just do one and see if it's half. That's one way of doing it. Because it could have been a conclusion that's tied to part A, aka finding one of the integrals, either one, and being like, hey, is it half? Oh, it's not half. Okay, no. Or you could have done both integrals and been like, hey, are they equal? And the answer is no, they're close. They're close, but they're not equal. Stating K value only does not earn a point. Oh, that's rough. It even says find K, but it doesn't give you a whole point just for doing K. Let me see.
I know probably one of them is for not stating K. That's probably that one. But then I'm looking at everything else and because I just plugged in the K value for where they have K, and I have everything else the same. And they said they are equal. There it is. I don't know. I'm just confused.
Oh, for letter B. I was looking at letter C. Sorry. This dx is what took away the point. That's what took away the point. This one.
That's probably for the stating K thing.
You should get 1 point back.
Is if I express something in a different way, but it's the exact same thing, the AP gives you a point for that, right? Because I'm 90%.
It depends on how it's done. I won't take your word that you did it the exact same way and that it's
No,
exact
I
valid.
just-
So I can look at it.
Yeah, I just did it and changed it to the
There you
way
go.
that I got marked off for not putting like with.
It depends on how the answer scoring guideline was. So something that specific, I'm not going to give you a yes or no until I look at it. All right, coming back to number 1, then we have letter C. Find the volume of the solid generated when R is revolved about y equals -3. Kiddos, with my solid, I have this to a point, I have this to a point, I have this with y equals 0, something like that. I'm revolving around y equals -3. Is this a dx or a dy? It's a dx because it's going around a horizontal, right? So when I take my region R and when I spin it, isn't there going to be some hollow? So what forever card do we need to think of if there's hollow? I need to think of washer. So I need to think of my big radius. I need to think of my little radius, right? Now, there's a capital R already, so I'm being kind of careful with that as far as my big radius, bottom, or my top radius and my lower radius, my outer and my inner, my hole and my hollow. story short is I need my pi. I get to use my 0 to a because it's the same left and right. I have a big ol' r1 squared minus r2 squared with dx, but let's go and just find it. So for r1, at the very top of that, guys.
1 minus x cubed.
Yeah, that's the top function, 1 minus x cubed minus, who's the bottom?
Negative
So
3.
plus 3.
Yeah, minus negative 3, so plus 3, and that's going to be squared.
If you did minus negative 3, would they mark it?
No, that's totally fine. That's part of like the not simplifying, not sticking it to the man. Yeah. Yes. Then as I come over here, I'm going to have my sine of x squared minus a negative 3 or plus 3 squared. Do you need to show any other work?
No.
Because what are you going to do right now? Put it all in your calculator, let it do it, write a decimal, there we go.
So, if I didn't pull the pi out,
Do you have a pi here and a pi there?
I have a pi after it. That makes sense.
But there's a big parenthesis and then a pi? Okay, if there's not a big parenthesis, it'd only be written next to 1. Let me see.
Is this like, does that count as a...
Square zero is over. Every single time it came up as 0 to
Because I got the wrong result too. But like, isn't that the same thing?
Oh, check it. U squared, the pi, not the r. It's pi r squared.
Okay.
But that's a little thing, so you can make that. You know what I mean? Oh, struggle, kid. Let's go check out the answer key, though. Hold on. Let's go check out the answer key. Because I'm surprised that you missed all 3 points.
Okay, Steve, so for scoring on the AP,
Yes.
I know that this is how it works for chemistry, is that they don't let the, like, let's say you're working on the same problem as B, like let's say we're working on B, and we use the wrong K value, but with the K value we use, we get the right answer with, like, what it would be from 0 to B of the, from 0 to A of the wrong value. If we plugged in that value, it would be the right answer, it would be the answer that it would normally be. It would be counted as right, but I don't know how does it work for calculus.
You would, let's say, for instance, you got the wrong intersection point at the very beginning, but you had the correct work for the whole thing. You would lose that point, but you could get, for instance, points on the integrand. You could get points on the, oh, the k value would be wrong. Oh no, integral with the k value. You could get this point because you would have the k, it would just be the wrong k. So you could get that. You could get that point. Depending on, this is the part that I don't fully know. In my experience, I would say you would still lose the answer points. But the AP graders do have calculators at their table when they're grading, so there is the possibility that they would plug in your integral. I see the possible time that adds to the grading, but it is possible. It is possible that they actually check every single wrong intersection point to make sure that you solved it correctly, because they wouldn't just freely give you the point, just being like, oh, well, of course you did the integral correctly. But they could definitely give you the integram points. They could definitely give you the concept points. They would just have to take off that one. There's the possibility that you'd lose the answer point. And that's how I graded the APs, just because I'd rather grade a little stricter than a little easier. Sarah, let me check out real quick, because I think, to be honest, 2 points are for the integrand. I would have given you 1 point. I'm highlighting that way I can peek at it when you turn in your corrections and I can adjust. You would have gotten the answer wrong and 1 point for the integrand wrong, but you would have gotten, I would have given you the correct expressions of your R's. I would have given you a point for that because there's 2 points for the integrand. I would have just taken off the point because you put the square in the wrong place. I would. Charlotte?
Can we do the second one?
On 13?
No.
On 17? Okay, I'm not going to do the whole thing just because there's a video explaining that one, but I can answer questions. Do you have like a specific question?
I only got 1 point.
Okay, have you watched the video yet? Okay.
Like, we get confused about like the second one.
We can talk about like the general what's going on. So for this one, there is a lot going on, and BC had this one too, and they didn't like it either, so it wasn't just you guys. But on this one, we have flowing into, that means water pouring in, right? At a rate of. So we have a rate of the water coming in. Then we also have water coming into another tank, tank B, at a rate of. And they didn't give us an equation for that, but we do see the graph up here. So we have the graph of A of t, we have the graph of B of t. Both of them are rates, so both of them in a sense are first derivatives. Both tanks are empty at time t equals 0, and then it gives us the two functions up above. Now, for letter A, when it says, now once again, I'm not going to, the video's online for this one, but for instance, when it says how much water will be in the tank A at time t equals 4.5, I would do something like WA is the water in A. Do like WB, just as far as how I'm going to write it out. So W of 4.5 is going to equal W of A. This is just going to be integration as net change. And I'm going to go from 0 to 4.5 of A of t dt. It was just integration as net change, plug into the calculator. You got those points okay?
Yeah, but I didn't put the units, so they take 1 point.
Because in the answer key, and you need to check out the answer key, Charlotte, and the video. It doesn't give you extra points for units, but units are a part of the answer. So for number 2, liters of water was part of the answer. So it was one of those, if you had this right, you got the check mark, but then you had the X because you didn't put the units. Does that make sense? Guys, any questions on 2013 number 2, though, just because there is no video on this one? Okay.
Oh shoot, penguins on an island?
Zoom in on what, kiddo? I was trying to show the question. Zoom in on the solutions?
Yeah, I can't see anything.
Okay, well remember this is in your email, so you were supposed to grade it last night so you could go over questions today, right? So pause. For tomorrow to be productive, because we're almost out of time. For tomorrow to be productive, people who have 2017 FRQs need to watch the videos. Does that make sense? People with 2013 FRQs need to look at the answer guideline. Come tomorrow with specific, I've looked at it, I've graded it, I've compared it, and I don't get why. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's go ahead and pause for today. I'll let you guys go ahead and check out number 2's answer guideline. I can explain things tomorrow 1 through 6. Like we can go over number 2 part B and number 4 part C, and the people in the video said this on 3 part A. I can help with those. Does that make sense? If you have any specific questions on your personal FRQs, because it's pep rally schedule, I think we're done in 30 seconds, right? Pep rally schedule? Because of the student council grading today? Or voting today? Yes, seniors get long lunch. I get a long staff appreciation. No, I should go make sure seniors are being good. Anyway. I'm going to remember this time. I forgot the nutrition break last time. I was so sad. Anyway. Do you know what to do for tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, because if you don't do that, it's not going to be productive. So come having watched the videos on 2017 FRQs, having looked at the answer guidelines to 2013 FRQs, and come saying, I don't get fill in the blank. Sound good? All right. Bye, cool kids. I'll see you later.
What I did